This is the I Heart My Life show. Hey, it's Emily here. Just wanted to let you know that this is an incredible clip from a recent Money Mindset Masterclass that I hosted, all about creating next level wealth and manifesting your greatest desires. I wanted to share a little clip for those of you who weren't on live so that you could hear a little bit more about how I recommend you dive deeper into what it is that you actually want. There's often 4 ways in which we're holding ourselves back from achieving the life that we want and also getting that clarity that we're craving in order to go to the next level. And especially if you're looking to create more wealth or abundance, money really loves specifics and certainty. And so it's really important that you are clear on what it is that you want and you have a clear vessel and energy channel to draw that thing into your life. So I wanted to share this with you. I hope you love it. And also as a reminder, the doors are open for our I Heart Money program, which is my 8-week program to support you in uncovering your money blocks and transforming your wealth like never before. And for the first time in 7 years, I'm running this program live, which is super exciting. So you get not only the completely revised and redone modules, but you get 8 weeks of live group coaching with me to really kick those pesky money blocks to the curb and start attracting the money that you desire and the next level that you're meant for. So if you go to iheartmylife.com/iheartmoney, you will find all of the information. It's I-heart-money, and you will be able to register. And also if you're quick, you'll be able to get our special price point. So again, go to iheartmylife.com, look for the iHeart Money program, and jump in today so that we can work together in transforming all of your money blocks and taking you to the next level. All right, here's the episode. So now I want to show you how to either get back on your feet or reinvent yourself wherever you're at. Like I said, wherever you're at in terms of your journey, I want to show you how to get the next level results that you're craving, especially when it comes to manifesting money and the bank account that is the bank account of your dreams. All right. So it all starts with my I Heart Money blueprint. That's what I like to call this framework here. So we're only going to have time to cover a few of these different areas, but I wanted to show you that there really is a process that I've created to support you and my clients and anyone else who, comes across my work in really understanding how to manifest the life of your dreams, including wealth and abundance. So the first step from my perspective is to take a look at where you are now compared to where you want to be. Now, a lot of people are scared to do this. I'm going to say that right out of the gate because they don't want to feel disappointed. They don't want to look. It's kind of like, you smush a bug under your shoe and you don't want to look, but you have to make sure that it's really dead, right? I know that's a silly example, but we don't want to look at our life because we're going to be like, oh, this isn't working. Something's off. I don't feel good about this. And we don't want to see all the messy stuff, right? But it's really important that we do so because that'll help us understand where we want to go next. We want to really identify those key components of our life that we're either tolerating, we don't feel good about, or low vibration. It's not working out the way that you thought because newsflash, you only have one life. Right. And so let's really make this your best go of it. Let's really step it up. I always say, I help women create a life better than their dreams because we truly can do so much more than we think. We are capable of so much more. Okay. So everything really starts with you identifying, okay, where am I now versus where I want to be. And the truth is most people are scratching the surface when it comes to their desires. Many of you in this group have done desire work with me before. And so you know what I'm referring to here, but a lot of times people are in denial about what it is that they actually want. And the really interesting thing about denial is that it often comes up around money through this feeling of being unworthy, right? So you're feeling guilty about wanting more. You feel unworthy about your next level bank account that you desire. And so you tell yourself you're okay with where you're at, right? You're in denial, but you actually secretly deep down want way more, but there's all this stuff covering up that desire. It's either guilt, unworthiness, fear, whatever it is. We're going to get to that in a second, but it really masks itself as this extreme denial where you don't think you want more, but you really do. And the problem with this is when you're denying what you want, the universe actually doesn't know what to deliver. I hope that makes sense. And I'm going to go even deeper with that, but just think about that for a second. If your child comes in the room and they just stare at you and they don't give you any indication of what it is that they want, you're not going to be able to, maybe you can guess, but you're not going to be able to fulfill their needs in a way that you could if they just asked you straight up, hey, I want a smoothie. right? Or maybe they come in the room and you're like, are you hungry? And they say, no, I'm not hungry, but you know, they're really hungry, right? That's an energetic mismatch. And so it's the same thing. Like you're in denial of what it is that you actually want, but you really do want something else. But as you can see, that's a mismatch in terms of energy. Or maybe you're also watering down your desires. Anyone find yourself saying something like, well, it's totally fine if, or that'll be okay for now. Or, no, I don't need anything else. I don't need a bigger room. We don't need to move into the suite. We don't need to fly first class. We're totally happy back here in economy. Anyone? Where you're like explaining that everything's okay, but it's not really. Yeah. So you're watering down your desires. And this happens a lot when we don't want to be seen to be too much. We don't want to have people judge us for being too greedy, right? All of that stuff. It's very confusing though. And again, I should have said this in the beginning. I don't know what your belief system is. I don't know if you're spiritual. I don't know if you believe in God or the universe. But if you think about yourself like making requests to the universe or whatever it is that you believe in, if you're constantly denying what you want or watering down your desires, it's very confusing. It's very muddy, just like any other relationship in your life. It's much better if your spouse just tells you what they want, right? Versus you having to guess, because you might get it confused. You often say things like it's good enough, or I should just be grateful for what I have, when in reality, you actually want more from your one life. Or maybe you've been going through the motions for so long and you're just not clear about what it is that you want anymore, right? Anyone? I know I did this for a while as well. So you've been so obsessed with reaching your goals, but you haven't stopped recently to even ask yourself if this is really what you want. And then one day you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, like what am I doing here? This is not the client I want to work with. This is not the place I want to be living in. This is not the person I want to be married to. This is not whatever it is, right? And that's a really important pivotal moment. It can be scary for a lot of people, but it's really, really important because it's allowing you to just have a bit of a reality check and see that you're not in alignment anymore in the way that you thought you were. So why am I sharing all these scenarios with you? The truth is because money loves specifics. And as you can see, it's very confusing when we show up in all of those ways. In denial, watering down our desires, not even giving ourselves a chance to check in with our desires and what it is that we actually want. And it's very hard to attract anything, the life that you are craving, anything, let alone the life that you are craving from that place. Okay. Is this making sense to everyone? If not, obviously feel free to put questions in the chat box. I'm totally happy to answer them. So we want to get really specific. For example, you wouldn't go into a store, right? Nordstrom's, wherever you're shopping, and be like, I'll take anything. You'd be really clear. Okay. And so this is always where I start with incredible driven women is let's actually get really clear about what it is that you want. All right. And once we do this, which obviously is a really powerful process in itself, it's really important that you also stay consistent towards the vision. Now, I'm not going to get into action as that's a huge topic in itself, and it's a big part of the framework that I talked to you about a second ago. But the thing I will say is that sometimes we're really clear on what we want, yet we take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, and we don't actually move full speed ahead towards the thing. So again, if you just picture yourself like going down the street, you might be going in a straight path towards the end of the road, towards this goal. Maybe, there's something there on the other side. You want to go see, I don't know, a waterfall. Let's just use that vision. You're moving towards the waterfall. Then all of a sudden you go into doubt because you're worried that you're not going to be able to reach the waterfall, right? And so then you turn around and you go the other way. Or something comes across the road that threatens to stop you. Maybe there's a snake, right, that slithers by. Or maybe, your child runs in front of you and is like, no, mommy, I need this, this, and this. And so you have to turn around and go the other way, right? And this is really, really important to think about for yourself because one of my mentors, he used to say, this is like you taking the pot on and off the stove. The water never actually gets a chance to boil. So it starts to heat up, then all of a sudden it's done. Okay. And so when it comes to manifestation, it's really important that you are certain and you maintain that certainty. Does that mean that you never have doubts or disbelief? Of course not, because you're human. But 9 times out of 10, or at least, 51%, you are somebody who is certain that what it is that she desires is on its way, and you're going to continue to move full speed ahead, regardless of the roadblocks and what comes up. Okay. So Lisa says, totally got activated when you said shopping at Nordstrom's. Great reflection for me. This is something I love about this work. It's never done. Oh, great. So even like the consideration of going into Nordstrom's brought something up for you, like around the pricing. Super interesting. I think that's what you're saying. I know you enough to guess. So yeah, so think about that. And that's such a beautiful thing to share, Lisa. Thank you, because I may activate some of you on this training, and I hope I do, because just like Lisa said, who's a longtime student of my work and a good friend of mine, you have to be able to recognize that in your, experience with this work, you're probably going to get triggered. You may even want to shut off this training. You might want to punch me through the computer, whatever it is, but that's actually really good because our emotions are so telling. Our emotions give us clues as to what we get to work on, right? So there might be a piece of Lisa that's like, oh, I'm not worthy of shopping at Nordstrom's, or it's too much money, or whatever the belief system is, right? And so you might have a similar one. And maybe for you, there was no trigger there. But when I say Saks Fifth Avenue or Chanel or Louis Vuitton, there's something else that comes up for you that makes it so you don't feel worthy of that. You discount it from your, what's possible for you. And I had this happen so many times. So we've hosted events all around the world. One in particular, we hosted every single year in London when I was living there. And I had a lot of clients from the US, and people would literally come and they'd be like, oh my gosh, it took so much for me to get on this plane because I didn't feel worthy of getting this passport. I didn't feel worthy of going to a 5-star hotel. We had it at the Ritz in London. I didn't feel worthy of even stepping in the room. Right. And so I used to tell them, part of your work is literally just getting on the plane. It's literally just booking this ticket. It's literally just applying for this passport. And how many of us are stopping ourselves and holding ourselves back from even that small step, that belief, that worthiness? We know what our desires are, but we're not even allowing ourselves to take the step towards it. For some people, this is extreme, where they know they want to go to Italy. They know whatever the thing is. Let's just use the trip to Italy. They know they want to go there. They won't even allow themselves to look up the cost of the flight. They won't allow themselves to research the hotels. Certain people already have the ticket. They want to fly first class. They don't even allow themselves to ask how much an upgrade would be. So again, these are just specific examples, hoping to bring some things to the surface for you. But ask yourself a question, if you are clear on your desires, are you actually moving towards them? Are you giving yourself permission to even take that first step? Or is there this feeling of unworthiness, which we're going to talk about more in a second, that's really blocking you from your desires? Okay. So again, to be clear, step number 1, we want you to be clear about what it is that you want. Right? If you are in denial, if you are feeling guilty, if you are feeling unworthy, if you are uncertain, you don't have a clear channel. Think about it when you're like the old TVs, right? You had to turn the dial and get a clear channel, or the radio, right? You had to get a clear channel on the thing. My daughter has one of those like Fisher Price Dream Makers where it projects a little book on the wall, and you have to turn the dial so that the words are clear. Right now, you don't have a clear channel if you're in any of those places that I just described. And so it's very hard for the universe to be clear on what it is that you actually want and know what to deliver to you. All right. Okay. Another comment in the chat, just thinking how much I shrink myself sometimes to be okay with winners and clothing swaps, H&M, which I actually do love finding deals and love the community part of clothing swaps. What came up was, it'd be fun to sometimes mix it up and go high end too. I'm reminded of how much I love Louis Vuitton, and that's okay too. Yes. So, how many of us were taught growing up that Louis Vuitton is only for a certain type of person, or Nordstrom's, whatever your frame of reference is. Okay. And so some of you might be nodding your head throughout this whole conversation and recognizing that there's some blocks there and some work to be done, which is great. And really, this is the first step, having that clarity around vision, especially when it comes to money. Now, again, we don't have time to go throughout my entire blueprint. That's what my I Heart Money program is for. But one of the things I will mention is, obviously it's important to get clear on your desires. And then we want to know, okay, well, how much will that thing actually cost? And put a monetary amount next to it. Okay. Is this making sense for everyone? I'd love to hear in the chat box. I can't see all of you. Is this making sense? Put a big yes. If so, yes, 100%. Great. Okay. And I'll just share one more example of this. So we are taking a trip to London. For those of you who don't know, I moved from Columbus, Ohio, when I was 24 to London, England on a complete whim. Didn't know anyone, just literally felt like I was meant to live there. And met my husband a year later online. So talk about like being clear on what you want. It made no sense whatsoever, but ended up doing it anyway and met him a year later. So there was obviously some part of me that had this inner knowing. And where was I going with that? Oh, so I have a daughter now, and my in-laws live in the UK. And so we're going there for 3 weeks this fall. And we started to book all the stuff for the trip. And one of the Airbnbs that I really love, it's super luxury. There's this amazing guy. I'll have to share the link with all of you guys sometime. And he has like 21 properties. They're so beautiful. We stayed in one last time. And so I said, I'm going to message him to see what other properties we could book for this year. I wasn't planning to pay for anything this second. I literally just wanted to get the information, and I wanted to go and book one of his higher level properties. And so I reached out to him because I have him on WhatsApp, and he responded, and he's like, oh yeah, we can offer you this price point, which is basically $1,200 cheaper than what it is online. And he said, actually, you don't have to pay for anything now. I'll just take your credit card information and I'll charge you at the end of the summer. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Because that means this beautiful property is reserved for us. I didn't have to put anything down yet. He gave us a massive discount, and it was all because I asked the question and I was willing to be like, no, you know what? I want to do that thing. And let's just have a conversation and see what's possible. The same thing happened when we got married at the Ritz. Everyone was like, oh no, that's going to be too expensive. And I was like, well, we don't even know. We've never had the conversation. We don't know anyone who's gotten married there. We had the conversation with them, and it was actually way cheaper than either of us ever expected. And my father-in-law was amazing. He paid for it, and it was epic. And so my point for you is allow yourself to unearth the desires so that you can explore how to make it happen. If you are denying what you want, if you are just cutting it off and saying, no, it's not possible, not meant for me, I don't have the money, too expensive, whatever the excuse is, you're not even going to be able to get to the place of creativity and expansion to be able to call it in. And I'm sure you can see you're way more likely to call it in and have it be your new reality if you at least try and you admit to yourself what it is that you actually want. There are 3 specific ways that I help people get clear on their desires in my I Heart Money program, which I'll be talking to you about in just a second. So I don't want you to feel like it's just, trying to think about this. There are actually 3 ways that you can do that. This is Charlotte. She's somebody who went through my program. She said, oh my God, I just had a breakthrough after watching the live Q&A. I haven't been honest with myself about what it is that I actually want. I played down my dreams because I felt guilty that they were too big, so they haven't excited me. Thank you, Emily Williams. You are my new girl crush. This one I wanted to share because this is something else I haven't mentioned yet. Are you downplaying your goals, and so you aren't actually even excited about your next chapter? Oh my gosh, I just got goosebumps. How many of you aren't even excited about your life? I feel like I'm yelling probably, and my daughter's sleeping. Like, this is huge, guys. So you're not even excited about your life. You deserve to be excited about your life. Period. Like that, I could just end it right here because we only get this one life. Are you excited? I'm not saying that every single day is like knock your socks off, but it could be, right? And are you excited about the work you're doing? Are you excited about the client? Are you excited about the opportunities? Are you excited about the trips? Are you excited about your relationship with your kids, with your spouse, where you live, furniture, whatever? You get to decide to draw a line in the sand. And this is the day where you're going to shift into excitement about your life. You might not even know how you're going to do it yet, but you're going to do it. Thank you for listening to the I Heart My Life show. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with 3 friends or post about it on social media using the hashtag I Heart My Life show. And don't forget to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts. It really does help us spread the movement far and wide. Remember, everything you desire is possible. Keep believing in your dreams and taking action.